Hello Sean, so this is a kind of first pass at Studio One, and I'm starting from a brand new clean slate. In order to do from a clean slate, you go to the file at the top left here and you click on new song, and then empty song is the preset I'm using there. The good thing about this is that if you created a folder specifically to keep all your track in, you can do this here. So you can give your song a title and you can choose exactly where you want all your files and everything to be saved to. So you can set everything up the way you want it from here, which is pretty nice. Like there's a sample rate that you want to record at, etc. I don't think I've got a lot of choice in there. Oh, I have. Wasn't expecting to see that. I'm using my built-in mic and my built-in sounds from my laptop. So once you've set that in there and you click OK, you'll be presented with what you see right now, completely empty, and that's probably the best way to start in here. So the first thing is navigation wise, you've got 3 different areas of this program, main areas anyway, and they're denoted by what you can see, these 3 buttons down the bottom here, and when they're highlighted blue, then it will expose those areas. At the moment you can see the browse is exposing and hiding when I click on it, the browser, and the browser is split up into different types of files that you may want to select. I've not configured this yet, but you can see in the files here, should be where you can add your own custom folders in here that's related to your hard drive where you save your files. So this would be one way of bringing your files in there. Instruments and effects, they're all put in their categories. They're the ones, the effects is the one that you're probably more likely to be viewing, and you can see here that all the PreSonus ones, which are for Studio One, are showing you in here. You can see here that you can expand these. You can see there quite a few presets within there, so it's pretty cool that you've got all of these in here. The idea of this little tiny tick box in here, as you can see for each of these, is that when you click on it, you not only can actually see what you've selected, but it expands all the presets that belong with that as well. So as an example here, when you click on the compressor, you can see here that it's showing you not just the actual compressor effect, but showing you all of the effects of the compressor, or shall I say the presets. So you can see here you've got backing vocals in there as an example. So rather than select the rack to use the rack as it is, you could literally just drag and drop a preset, and you can collapse that down by clicking on that little tiny tick button there, as you can see what I'm doing now. So it's got a lot of effects built in there. Not all of them I don't think is going to come with Studio One Artist, but a lot of them should be coming with them. So I'm going to close down the browser, and then we're going to click on the next button next to it, which is the mix, and this brings up your mixer, and it's modular, much like Reason. You only see mixer there when you've added more tracks, so you don't have to be presented with a whole massive mixer, something that we was presented with in Cubase, if you remember, all those years back. In Cubase you would see like 24 channel mixer in front of you, and it was a bit daunting. Whereas this is modular, meaning you building it up. You only see what you need, kind of thing. And then finally you've got the edit, and the edit window is to edit whatever track you've got selected, and that will bring up a waveform in here, and you have all your tools. So again, this is really nice because inside Reason you don't really have a dedicated editing waveform editor in there like this, and of course you can expand this to really use that space up there, which is pretty nice. You've also got this zoom, as you can see there. This is for your sequence. If you want to zoom in close, you can still zoom in close. as you can see there. And you've also got these presets in here, so normal, small, tiny, you can go medium, large, extra large, and that's pretty cool. That's going to be how big your tracks are going to look on the screen there. So those are those three main areas, and of course if you select it again, it means it gives you the whole entire area to construct your music, which is pretty good. Moving down the bottom to the transport bar, this is kind of self-explanatory as what you see in Reason, and if you hover over anything inside this program, you're going to see a little tooltip popping up. It just tells you like a shortcut or what it is, so that's pretty good. So you've got your stop, your play, your record, and your loop mode. These are things I'm highlighting that we kind of know in Reason quite well, and we use it quite often. So these three are going to be obviously important. You can double click on the stop, and it will go back to the beginning of the track. Your playhead is here, as you can see. There's your playhead. And what you'll find in Persona is you'll find that according to where you click on something, it will change its icon to have an additional function. So as an example, you can see my cursor is right there, and this would be kind of where your playhead is, so you can just click to put your playhead. Yeah, so could do with probably watching a video on how to operate these things properly, but you should be able to get around it fine to start with until we kind of discover how the proper way to operate all these things, all the shortcuts and stuff like that. In order to set a looped area, all you do is you go to the very top and you see it turns into like a little pencil. Then what you can do is you can just click and drag, and it sets the beginning point and the end point, as you can see there. And then what you can do is once you do that, you can drag your end point and your beginning point wherever you want. So that's by clicking up there with a little pencil. Okay, all the time it's grey, it's not really going to function as much until you've got your loop turned on, and then you see it turns blue. So a common theme inside Studio One is if something turns blue, it means it's turned on. Okay, it's at the moment the stop is turned on because it stopped. And as I mentioned, this stop button works the same as in Reason. You press it once, it goes back to your last position. You press it again, it goes back to the beginning of the track, which is good. I'm not going to go through anything else at this moment in time, but there's a little tiny bar inside it's like a little meter in Reason, and it's normally located down the bottom right, and it's like I think it's called PSU or PSD or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's basically to show you how well your computer's performing, how much performance is being used up. Inside Persona Studio One, it's located to your left, so you can see here the performance thing. It's showing you, and the more this goes up, the more performance it's using of your CPU. So that's where the meter is in here. The meter in Reason is the bottom right. The metronome is quite important, not because we're going to be using it during recording, but we do need to at least hear a pre-counting to give us time to get ready to record. Otherwise, the second you hit the record button, it's going to start recording straight away. So if you did want to have a pre-counting, you go to the area where it says metronome. You can see down here, I've got my cursor, and in here you've got some options in here. We want to turn on the pre-count. If you just hover over the top of it, you'll see it says there. Now if you want to set up the options for this, you click on this little tiny spanner, and you get the options of how many pre-count bars you want. So you see there, 1 bar, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it starts recording, and that is all there is to it. Of course, then you need to actually turn on your metronome like that, and then it will play. You press the play button. It's going to continuously play with the metronome. We turn this off. The metronome is only going to come in when you hit record for the first 4 clicks or 1 bar. So that's the only thing you need to be concerned with, anything within this area of the program so far. So now that we've got into that, let's start by doing something. So what I'm going to do in the next area, next part, is I'm going to just create some tracks and we're going to record something. So in this part of these kind of overview of the program, we're going to create a track. So we go to the top left, you see this plus button there, and you click on this plus button and then you get the first track coming up, and I'm going to call this track music. This is probably the order you're going to do things, and because it's going to be stereo track, we're going to go to the format and click on stereo. Now it could be the case that you don't even need to create this track at all. You may better just bring in your audio track and it creates a track for us. So in this particular case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave that there, and I'm going to go to the song and then import, and I'm going to import an audio track. Anything will do for me, so I'm just bringing that in. Audio track comes in here, as you can see here in the sequencer area, and to the left here, if I just expand this a little bit, you can see here we've got all of these functions, and you can just hover over them and it gives you an idea of what all of these do. Some of these won't be available anyway in the other version, the artist version. What we do need to look at straight away is here we've got the name of the track, and then we've got these buttons. Now this is the monitor button. When you click that, it's going to give you some loop back if you're too near your microphone and the speaker, like I am. So in most cases we don't have that turned on. When you click on this button here, it arms this track to be recorded. Until you do that, you won't see no input gauge or anything like that. And then you've got these standard buttons, which is a solo and a mute, which is pretty cool. As you can see here, this is like a little tiny mini mixer, and it's basically it's like the input gain that you can adjust here. So that's pretty cool. You've also got the ability to select all your inputs that are available, and you can change it between mono and stereo. So you can select your input for your microphone straight from here. If you look over to the left, you'll see this little tiny coloured bar. If you click on this, you can select your colour of your track, and you can see as you're hovering over it, you get to choose, and you get a little preview as you're going over it, which is pretty nice. I like that. Now this little tiny button here, I did mention that you get these tiny buttons in here, and it's very, very small. It's just over on the side there, and you can expand envelopes, and this is basically, you can set up like your volume. You can see it, it's just another way of getting to it. You can see that you can adjust it there, or you can adjust it here. It's just whatever you prefer. So if you're bringing in a track which is a little bit too heavy, peaking too much, you can bring this down just here. I'm not sure how this relates to the mixer channel, but we can look at that in a moment. But you've got your pan and your volume. You can close this like anything inside Persona by just clicking on it, and it expands and closes. Now I would assume from this, because we've got these bars, that you can select these bars and adjust it from the bars as well, which you can. You can drag it from there, and you're probably going to be able to put these little points in there to make it basically automate, like a fade in and stuff like that. But we won't go into none of that right now. But you can see here we've got this option anyway to expand that. For us, what we need to do is we need to bring in another track specifically for recording vocals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this plus button again, and we're going to make this vocals. We're going to call this. I'm going to turn this to mono until we know any better than that. We'll stick with that. Auto color you can have on, or you can choose your color right here and now before you even go any further. And then we click OK. So that's pretty simple so far. Now I want to arm this track to be able to do my recording. So what you do is you press on this little record button and make sure that this is turned off. I do not want this turned on, this monitor. There's probably ways to make sure it's never turned on automatically, but nevertheless you can see here that we've got an input. Now, like with most things in Presonus, you can right click on your track and you're getting a number of options in here. So I'm just not going to go through them, but I'm just going to show you that you can access additional options, whether you right click on the actual main track or you right click on a selected track that you've brought in. You can see here that by doing this you're instantly given the ability to do things like transpose the track. So as an example, if you brought in a track and it was a little bit too high, you wanted to bring it down a couple of keys, you could just say -2 and it should bring it down two notes down. Not sure how it handles it inside this program, but just thought I'd mention that. You can also access your other features within here as well, which I won't go through just yet. But by right clicking you've got access to features directly related to the track itself. Now before you do your recording, you're going to want to see your input. You've got a little tiny gauge here, and for the fact it's showing you red, it's meaning that we're peaking. You can see just there. If you click on the little tiny red, what it will do is it will reset the meter. This is like a little visual meter there, and once it goes into red again, you should be able to click on it and it will just turn it off. But we don't want to go by that meter, we want to go by a proper meter. So what we do is we click on the mix, the bottom right, and in here you're able to see your mix channel and the relevant color that belongs to that mix channel. Now according to what you see to your left here is to what again is highlighted here. The less you've got highlighted, the less you're going to see. So it's very much the same, that to the far right here, if you've got the mix color turned off from blue to like grey, it means it doesn't show you it. And it's exactly the same with these features in here. You only see what is selected and turned on. So it may be the case that you don't need some of these things to be seen. We're yet to discover what these things even do, to be quite honest with you. But what I'm going to draw your attention to in particular is the inputs. When you open up the inputs, you're seeing a stereo, which is a combined left and right, and then you're seeing your separate left and right inputs that will be on your interface. Now in order to make sure that you've got the right one selected, what you can do is for a microphone on input 1, you'll see it says L for left, and also if you just click here, you'll give the option, you get the option whether you're in input 1 or input 2. You can see there it's going to be a little bit different with different sound cards. Now you notice that I'm peaking. I'm not going to be recording on the right input, but it's still showing you the levels there. But in order to control this peaking, all you have to do is you turn down your gain on your 2i2 focus, so it's not peaking on there. And if the 2i2 is okay, you can try to bring it down a little bit on this input gain here, this little tiny black button. So if you just see you've got this, just click on this and cancel it out. You see that it's peaking sometimes. If it's getting too close, you can see it's minus 0.05, so it's very, very close to 0 decibels there. So either bring it down a little bit on your input for your 2i2, which is always a good idea to go to the hardware first before you touch the software, and then as a secondary control you can turn this down. So I haven't got no 2i2, so I'm going to control it on here, and I'm going to make sure that I'm around about minus 12 if I was to do a recording. So you can see there I'm a minus 12. Now you can see I've got what's called a peak hold. It says minus 10. So the peak hold is turned on by right clicking on the meter, and you can click on this peak hold, and what it basically means is the highest peak that it's going to reach is going to keep it there to show you what it is. I've just got my cursor right where it's showing you the highest peak. So while I'm talking now, the highest peak I got to was minus 10.6 decibels. If you've got that peak hold on and you've got your length to say 15 seconds, that's how long it's going to hold that peak for, and then it's going to reset the meter. Okay, if you put it on infinite, it means it's never going to reset the meter, and I assume if you double click on that, no, so it doesn't, the peak hold's not resetting. The only way to really reset it is to either turn it to 15 seconds or lower, but I prefer to have it there permanently because I can see what my peak is, and that's minus 10 decibels. So that would be okay for doing a recording if I sung my chorus part, the loudest part of my track. But I've heard some artists say, you know, minus 18 is good to aim for, which is fine if you're recording with 24-bit because it doesn't pick up much noise. So now that we've established this, we've now got the peak hold where we want it. We don't need to see the inputs anymore. However, if you wanted to do some pre-compression, which is going to be recorded along with your vocals, you can add an insert effect right here and now to do that compression, and that's done by the inserts here. Now the thing to remember is with insert effects, what it's doing is it's mixing the effect with the actual signal of your vocals. In this particular case, it's vocals. It's mixing the signal with it. So in other words, what it can do is it can actually increase the decibels when you add effects. So you may need to change your input gain if you add one here, because you may have set it up to minus 10, and then you may add some kind of effect, and then it may actually add decibels to it. So set your insert effects up and then just recheck your meter. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to record it raw. I'm going to close down this so we can just see that now. So that's all good and well. I'm not sure whether you've got any options by right clicking on this. It looks like you might have, but yeah. So even on the mixer channel itself, you can right click and you'll see these same options again, peak hold and hold length. So that's good, you can see it on there. That's pretty handy. As for these other features on here, I haven't really looked at none of these features in here yet, but we're going to keep things simple in this video. So I'm going to record something. I'm just going to record some vocals, and I've got no headphones turned on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solo this so that it mutes the music in the background. For you, you wouldn't be soloing it because your music's going to come out in your earphones and it's not going to feed back through your mic. So I'm going to solo for my case. I'm going to record, and to start with we're just going to do a basic recording, and then we're going to look into comping, or what's it called, takes, afterwards. So let's just do a basic recording now. So I'm going to hit record. Yeah, let's just hit record. Now it's recording. This is a testing 1 2 3. La 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 la. Stop that, and then you'll see that the color is matching the track. You'll see the waveform in here, which is obviously like it is in Reason, and that's really all there is to it. Now if you wanted to clip a little bit off of this, or indeed the beginning of your music track, you can do pretty much what you've got inside Reason. You can just select and drag like that. You right click, and then you can click on delete time, and then it will actually delete the part in the beginning if you've got too much long of an intro. In my particular case, I just want to grab the end of this audio track just to bring it down to there. So you've got the basic features that you expect to see in here. Along with those basic features, of course, you can increase the height of that track, and you can increase the width of it in here you can see to your right hand side. Yeah, and that just nudges it along in steps. And if you remember, we've got normal mode on there at the moment. If we turn in medium, you can see it's automatically making them bigger for you. If you've got a really big screen, you can go to something like extra large. It's absolutely ginormous. So it's nice to have these little presets to work on like that. Now we want to play it back. I'm going to take my solo one off just for the moment, and you should be able to hear both of them together. Press the stop twice and press play.
Now it's recording. This is a test with 1, 2, 3. La 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 la.
See that? So I've got now both of my tracks, and of course they'll go down to here where you're able to effectively put your mix in. So
now it's recording. This is a test with 1, 2, 3. La 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 la.
there you go.
Yes, I wish to claim my call.
Remember, I dropped it 2 decibels lower. That's why it all sounding quite low. So you can see it's very, very simple to get to this stage where we've just done a record. If we don't like the recording, we can simply select it and hit the delete key. I'm going to press Ctrl and Z to go back because I do want to keep it, just for the now anyway. So it's pretty simple as far as that's concerned so far. We haven't really done anything extra special to this. It's very, very easy to just go along and to select an area of a track like that. It's super simple. This little tiny box here, again, you're able to increase its overall input if it's too quiet. It's much like Reason, where you've got this little line for the middle here, but it's got this little box instead, which is quite nice. I quite like that. It's a bit louder. So that's pretty good. So now that we've established that, let's look at how we can now do some takes, the take system. For this, I'm going to delete this track, and then the next part of this video I'm going to go into takes and how to set them up. So with the take system, it's set up a little bit different to how it is inside Reason. You've got a little bit more options there. Now, in order to see these additional options, if you go down to the transport bar area, you can see you've got this little tiny cog, and if you click on this, it expands to show you some additional options. Again, the same thing, you click on it once, it shows it, you click on it again, it hides it. In here, it's got the type of recording that we're doing, and at the moment it's just a recording mix. You see there? We want to do recording takes. You see there? Now, there's different ways you can record takes, and it's according to these different modes. Now, the replace way of it is that each time you do a recording, it replaces the previous one each time you go in a loop. Takes to layers is the one that we want, because it operates much more similar to what we see for Reason. So that's the option that I'm going to go for, takes to layers. Now, if we set up a loop, what it will do is it will automatically go to the beginning again. So if you, for instance, there's a part of the song you didn't like, you can go up to here, where right at the very, very top, where the little tiny pencil is, and you can say, oh, I don't like this part of the song, I want to do a retake of that area. And then by selecting that and turning the loop on, it's only going to play or record within that area, and all your takes are going to be shown there. So I'll just play this. I'm going to increase this to be a little bit longer than this for my takes. Okay, and then we're going to record just within this area here. So my loop's turned on, my vocal track is selected, armed for recording, and then I'm going to hit the record. For the sake of purposes, I'm going to solo my microphone just so that it doesn't pick the music up back for the microphone. But for you, you'll have your headphones on, you won't be doing the soloing. So now I've done this, I'm going to hit record, and I'm going to record some takes. This is take 1. This is the main recording take, the first pass of your recording. This is take 2. This is the second recording part, and it's your take 2. This is take 3, and this is the third take. This is take 4, and this is the fourth take. As soon as you stop your recording, you'll be presented with these expanding folders. I'm going to turn off my mixer so we don't see this, and all we can see is these takes. I'm not quite sure what happened to this take. Must have stopped it or something like that. But either way, we've got a take there. Now you'll notice that we did 3 takes, but we've got a fourth one at the top there. The reason is the active track, the main active track, always shows at the top, and whatever we take from these 3 takes is always going to be bounced kind of temporarily to the top to show you what our chosen takes are going to be. Now we can expand and close our takes. We can just do this in 2 ways. There is a third way, but I forgot how you can actually find that little button. But if you right click, you can click on expand layers, and you can see here that it's closed that. Now if we want to expand it again, we can right click, expand layers, and it shows us our layers. Now one thing to mention right now is if you look at the very top there, and I just want to undo what I've done for this. If you look at the very top, what you'll notice is you've got, I don't want to confuse things here, you've got, it says take 4 at the very top. The reason why it says take 4 is because our latest take, the last one that we did, it always puts it at the top, assuming that each time you do a take, the better version's always going to be the last one you recorded. But if your first take was your main vocal pass, what you can do is you can push that up to the very top. Now in my particular case, one of these takes don't look complete, so I'm going to see if I can delete this. I've never had to do this before, but right click and hit delete. See if I can delete this as well and remove that layer. I can. This is just so we can see more it looks more pleasing to the eye. We can see we've got these takes here. Now what you can do is you can rename these takes to be whatever you want them to be by double clicking and there, and you can take, it's automatically done it for us already for us, but we may want to rename these to make more sense. So this would really be 1, so I'm gonna call this T1. This one was my second take. Remember I deleted one of those takes, so that's take 2, and realistically this is take 3, so I'm gonna put T3. Okay, now that we've done that, if this was take 1 and this was your main pass, we want to have this as your starting point. So what you do is you click on this little tiny arrow, and you'll see that it's actually pushed it to the top. And now this take is now being pushed to the very top. That's exactly what we wanted to happen, push straight to the top. So that's a good start. This would be our main take, and now we want to start to pull some different vocal parts from these other takes. Now we can audition it in different ways. We can use the solo button so that when we play it, it's going to play just that take. So let's just play it now. It's still on the loop.
This is take 2. This is the second recording part. The third take. This is take 4, and this is the fourth take. And this is the third take.
You can see as I'm soloing these.
And this is the fourth take of the part. And it's your take.
So when you solo these, it would only play that particular take. So if you wanted to listen to the whole take, that's a good way of kind of generalizing whether you like any of it at all. Now if you wanted to audition just parts of the take, you can select this little tiny button here, which is a listen tool. It's got a shortcut A, and you can click anywhere and it will start to play from that point.
3, take 3, fourth take,
See there? Wherever you click on.
recording part, 4,
So I say for instance I like where it says 4. I'm going to go back to my main selection tool, arrow tool, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just highlight where it says 4. Now at the moment I've got this, I forgot what it's called now inside Reason, snap. I've got a snap turned on at the moment, so we want to turn the snap off. It's just up here. It's into adaptive mode at the moment. I'm going to turn this snap to frames. It gives you more freedom to move around, and then I'm going to select and drag around where I say 4. You'll notice the second that I do that, it's pushed this take right up to the top, because remember the top track is going to be our main finished final track, so it's always going to push whatever we're doing for the takes to the top, which is brilliant that you can do this. I'm going to try get a take from this one here. Again, it's going to push it to the top along with its color. Now another way you can do this, which is really clever, is if you had hundreds of takes and you think, oh, this is getting tedious, what you could do is you could right click on here and then collapse these layers, and then just find the faults. Literally, you're finding faults within your music. Say like there, say that there's some definite faults in here, and what you can do is you can actually insert your takes into these areas. Now can't quite remember how you do it straight from here, because normally you kind of have to select an area first, but I assume you probably use your slice tool for that. Let's say we try that now. So let's say I'm going to slice it there and there. Yeah, it's a slice tool. So if you use your slice tool to slice up your track where you think you've made errors, you can then select that sliced area. You can see this little tiny icon there, and look, you can choose any of your takes, and it will replace that area with any of your takes in that particular part of the song. So let's say for instance I wanted take 4. There you go, take 4 is now being put into there. It's empty in this particular case of the song. Take 1 was the original. Take 2, you can see it's put it in there. It's really, really clever that we're able to do this. It's really, really clever that we can do this. In fact, it's quite astonishing that we're able to do this. So you can actually choose your takes within there, which is very, very cool. So remember that you can slice it up on your main track if you wanted to and choose a take, or you can expand it and do it the way like it is in Reason, similar, by just auditioning different takes and then saying, well, I want this part, I want that part, I want this part of that, and then there you go, it's done it. Now the beauty about this, if I just collapse this now, it's automatically done something for us. I'm just going to expand this so we can see it a little bit bigger. I want you to see you've got these little tiny handles at the top left and the top right. And if we grab this, you notice here that we've got this crossfade. How cool is that? And it's going to smooth the transition between them, which is pretty nifty. And this is by going those top handles there. In addition to that, you can see when you go to the top half of the take, you can see there, you can just move between the left and right, and it's going to choose either the left part, which is here, or the right part. You can see there, it's just a little triangle. So if when it's highlighting the right part and you click, you're able to adjust that to push it that way. You see that? And you can even crossfade it over into the next one. You see that? It's a bit like a video editor. And you can do the same thing from this side. You can pull this. A bit fiddly. You need a mouse for this really. Let's see if we can do it the other way. There you go. And you can pull that. So what you can do is it allows you to adjust where your takes are of that track. So you can actually really fine tune this to say, do you know what, I want a little bit more of that take or a little bit less of that take, and simply dragging it is going to allow you to fine tune it. You can see it. I've got a little bit too much of this take of this one here. So what you can do, you can either crossfade it out. You could do with a mouse when you're doing this, or I'm going to just make it so I'm just taking up a little bit less. There you go. So you can adjust these takes accordingly. You can fine tune them. It's going to abide by your snapped to frames. I'm not sure how you kind of would release the snapping altogether, to be quite honest with you, because you can release it inside. There you go, there it is. So that was what I was after. You can toggle the snapping, so you're going to have a bit more freedom of movement. You're not snapping to the bar or eighth or something like that. That's a bit more better, yeah. So there's your takes. Now when we play it back, you're going to hear it all smoothly transitioning together. In our particular case, we didn't start our takes till a little bit later on in the song. So let's start it from there and play it back.
This is take 4, 3, second recording, third recording. This is take 4.
How cool is that? So we've got that down now. So at this point, this is the workflow that you would want to kind of think about. If you are happy with your takes and you decide that, do you know what, I want to move on to my auto tuning or my my tune correction. In order to do that, you don't really want to have it as separate takes like this. You want to have it as a bounced down version. Now bearing in mind that once you bounced it down, then your takes are kind of all incorporated into the main track. So if you want to keep a copy of these or your whole takes, what you can do is you can right click and you can duplicate the track. You see it says complete, and what this means is it's creating an identical copy. If you right click, you've got all your layers still inside of it. So this is like a backup in case you start to do your auto tuning. You think, you know what, there's so many areas in there, I want to go back and do my takes. So what you can do is you can go back on your copy and then put it back into there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute this version, this copy here, just for the moment, and we can still going to be working on this one here, and I'm going to bounce it down. So to bounce it down, you right click and you should be able to select bounce down. I'm not sure whether this is bounce selection. We want to bounce the whole lot, so Control and A might be able to select it all, I'm not sure, but I'm just going to left click and drag over it, right click and then click on bounce selection. There we go. You'll notice now it turns one solid color, and what effectively this has done is it's brought in all of your takes into one whole complete piece. It doesn't mean that when you right click and you do expanding layers that your takes have disappeared. It just means that you kind of committed to the takes selection that you've done. So all your selections of takes now been bounced to the top, and it's very similar to the way Reason works. In order to do video editing or audio editing to this further on, you do have to kind of bounce it down to one whole piece of audio. But what we've done in our case is we've kept a backup of our original takes in this version here. So you can say, do you know what, I wish I never have bounced that down, I wasn't really ready for it yet. You can say that's fine. You can select this and delete it, and then if you wanted to, you can just drag and drop this whole lot to the top there and then delete this track. There you go. Don't want to do that, so I had the wrong thing selected. We can just select this and we're going to delete it, right click, delete track, and now we're back to where we were to start with, basically, which is really good because now we've got our takes back again, so that we can expand this and start to do our takes. But I'm going to go backtrack a couple of levels. We bounce things down. I'm totally happy with everything that I've done now, and I don't need anything else there anymore. So I'm going to choose to delete the whole lot. Not sure. That's remove track complete. I'm going to remove that. I've just duplicated it again. We want to remove track. There we go. This is a bounce down version of our vocals. I'm happy with it. We can then move on to the next stage, which would be to some auto tuning. Now, for the auto tuning, I'm going to leave this to the next section. We've got through our recording takes. We've done a bit of comping. We've bounced the comping down to one single track, and then the next video or next section, we're going to look at adding some insert effects and doing some voice tuning on it. So now we can do some auto tune. I will admit right now I haven't done a lot of this auto tuning. In order to use the Melodyne, you have to go to the Melodyne website. Let's see if I can show you where this is done. Melodyne. You go to the Melodyne website, you go to the trial at the top right, and if you move down you should be able to go to here. There it is, 30 days free trial. You click on Studio for Windows, Melodyne Studio for Windows, and you have to sign up, blah blah blah, and then you install it. Make sure you restart or shut down Studio One as you're installing it. Bearing in mind that it's going to show you the studio version of this, so the studio version is the biggie version of it. To show you, Melodyne, by Melodyne, and it shows you, it should show you all the versions somewhere. Yeah, the studio version is €699, so you're not going to have all of these features that are there. But once you've installed it, you should have all the features that you need to get started. Go back in Studio One. We're going to select our audio track, right click, and then you've got this edit with Melodyne. You select that and it will bring your track into Melodyne somewhere along there. It looks like we have to scroll along a little bit to see it because we didn't record at the beginning. You can see it's not actual a vocal recording for singing, so it's picked up all sorts of weird pitches in there. I haven't touched much of this, to be quite honest with you, and some of these things you see opening right now I didn't even open up to start with. I was just playing with it, so ignore some of this stuff that you're seeing there right now because it's just stuff that I've just been clicking on. These are just different panels that open up basically. Yours may look a little bit different just because of what I've had selected there. I've just been playing around with it. So the basic gist of this is that if you have nothing selected at all and you click on this button here, this is your correction, pitch correction, and then you can actually move this pitch correction up and you'll see real time your pitch move into place. Now if it's to a particular snap of a chord scale that it picks up, you can choose this option, and if you've got drifting notes, it's going to take care of those drifting notes to make them a little bit better, and that's pretty much the auto tuning for it. If you wanted to tune any particular notes, you can select a particular note, and then when you go there to this, it will only move that particular note that you selected. Or you could drag around a host of notes that you wanted to do, and again you can go to here and you can start to do your auto tuning, and it's going to pull it in to where it thinks it should be. Now there's a lot more to this than what I'm showing you, obviously, and I don't know what features are not going to be available in the essential version that you probably going to buy, but nevertheless this is capable of working because I have tried it I just was playing around with a bit of different buttons in here. So some of the things I played around with was this pitch tool. Okay, so with this pitch tool, what you can do is you can select all of the notes you've got selected. I'm just going to select one. You can see here it's locking to the individual keys. The good thing about this is that it plays the actual part of your vocals rather than giving you a tone. And if you remember with Reason, it only gives you a tone. This actually plays it, which is really cool. Not only does it play it, but if you move it to the left and right, it plays more of that note. I'll show you. So you're able to move along that note to hear where it's drifting and changing in that note. Obviously I didn't sing anything in this, so there might be an area that I did sing something, I believe. Let's try that. I don't know. No. So what I'm going to do to make this a bit more interesting, I'm going to hit delete. I'm going to just record something really simple here. La 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 la. I'm going to right click. I'm going to edit with Melodyne. And there's our notes. If I click on a note, remember we're in this just selection tool at the moment here, the main tool. You click on this, double click. You should better. Just playing the whole note. If you select this pitch tool here, you can move through the note. Now you notice that this little tiny vibrato that's inside here is going outside the note area. See, it's spiking, very similar to in Reason's version. So it means it's going out of pitch along the note that I was originally in. It's going out of it. So to correct this, you can just click on this little tool where you can actually gain access to this other tool that's inside it. You can see there. You need a mouse for this really. It's called Pitch Drift tool. And what you can do is you can pull the drifting in. So now it's more of a solid note. And you can do this with anything. You see this one here. Just got to be careful you don't chop off any vibrato or anything like that. But you can split these notes up individual notes if it thinks it's one note when it should have been two. Sometimes it needs that. You can see this one's well out. With that said, I'm not going to go too much further in this. But what I will do is I'm going to do the auto pitch correction. So that's just go into here. I'm going to set this on a loop. You can see we can just move this along. I set this on a loop just to be within this area, and then the loop mode's turned on, as you can see, and play it. Let's just stop that and play it back. I may have lost. Not sure what happened there. Oh, there it is. Silly me. Right, here we go. Let's play this. Now you notice that when it goes over these individual notes, it's highlighting them. This is an option that you can turn on. I can't for the life of me remember where it is. It's in one of these. There it is. Just lucky I found it. In the options, you go note editor and you can select on highlight notes during playback. As you can see there, it's showing the note, it's highlighting it in like a brighter colour so you can see where it is when it's playing it. Now I'm going to pitch correct the whole lot, so let's just go to here. I'm going to play this while I'm doing it. That's turning that chord scale on. Click OK. And you can go for the individual notes. So I'm going to do just that. I haven't really gone much further than this, to be quite honest with you. I just split that note, didn't mean to do that. I'm just really messing it up here. I'm really pushing my luck here. It probably sounds like a mess now, but so you can see here it's basically doing the feature that it functions, but it's got a lot more that you can do inside here, believe me. The amplitude is to do with, you can actually make them individual notes louder. So if you hit some notes a little bit too quietly, you can go in there, which is pretty good. That's a helpful little feature. Fade tool. So if we can, you can just fade out the end of a note. You see that? You see the end of that note just fade in and out. You can do this on both ends. Not sure what all of these features are that you're going to have when you get the other version of it. What's this one here? Time tool. I assume that you can stretch a note longer. Not entirely sure. Yeah, it looks like it. Not something that you probably want to do. It allowed me to really stretch that one out, didn't it? So there you go, that's Melodyne in short. I was able to sing a song earlier on and actually get to the point where I got it all working and in tune just by using these very simple features. So now that we've got something in there, that's then go to the next stage where we're going to essentially put some effects on there. I'm going to delete these takes. Don't need them anymore. And delete them. So we're back into another track that I recorded earlier on, and I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to my edit with Melodyne, same procedure again, and then we're going to see if we can make this a little bit better. I'm sure we can. This original track is actually well up my key, way too high for me. I've just got that one already there. Right, so where are we? Not too bad. There's a few quiet notes in there that I probably would want to lift up, so I would probably use the amplitude. Let's just go back and listen to these. See, some of these are very quiet. I can also see that there's a bit of fluctuation in some of these, so I'm going to go to my drift tool. I'm going to go in a little bit closer. Use your mouse wheel for this normally. I'm using my 2 fingers on my trackpad. I'm going to just flatten out these a little bit. Okay, you can do this all day, but that will do. Let's play that back. See, wrist is very, very quiet there. So I'm going to go to my amplitude. Not the one, that's the one. Amplitude. Make it a little bit louder. I was a little bit quieter. So the spring could be a little bit louder. That's It's probably a good time to break it there. So I'm going to double click. You see I'm up here on the actual main track. You double click, you can actually do create a split, which is really cool. I like the fact that I can do that. I can create a split just by double clicking in there. I'm going to delete everything from that point onwards. Don't need it because we're just going to work on this area, and I'm going to close down a Melodyne. So now we've got a bit of the track done. You can obviously hear the music is way out of sync, not out of sync. The music is not the right kind of level, so we're going to do a little bit of mixing. We're going to open this up, and we're going to listen to this back. I want to take recording mode off now so we can only hear just what we've got playing back. So let's just monitor this meter here. You can clearly see that we've got a bit of hiss at the beginning here. I wasn't using a proper microphone, I was using one of those clip-on microphones. So we've got hiss in the beginning here. See this little crosshair? I'm going to double click this so it creates like a little split, and then I can go to this little tiny box and then bring down the audio level, so it's got no hissing at the beginning, but it still kept this gap there, which is exactly what I want. I don't want it to have any hiss in the beginning. Now what I can do is I can select these two. I've taken that hiss out. I know there's better features in here that takes hiss out, but this is the old manual way of doing it. And then we're going to bounce selection, and then you see it's merged it all down. The difference is at the beginning now there's not going to be no hiss because I use that little box to turn down the audio there. Not sure where that come from. That was from a completely different track. Let's just expand that. Yeah, not sure where that come from. Right, let's go forwards. Right, I'm a bit confused as to why it's playing audio from an entirely different track, a completely different song. Weird. That is the most weirdest thing. Might be something to do with I bounced the track, didn't I? So there might be something to do with bouncing the track. So something I need to look into. Shouldn't have done that though. Right. Okay, so we go to our mix. We're going to play it. Okay, not the best of vocals, but next we're going to insert some inserts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove anything that I've got in here just to show you how we add them. So what we do for an insert effect is we go up to here. We can click on this little plus sign here and we can look by vendor. You see that? Or if we click on this little tiny down arrow, we can do by type. So we've got vocals in here somewhere. So let's close these instrument ones. There you go, there's vocals. Let's do a male vocals, louder, let's try that. And that's a chain of effects. It's giving me a compressor and an EQ. Let's add a reverb of some sorts. So we'll go to the down arrow, and I believe in here we've got Dreaming or something like that. I do Dreamy. Let's play that back. Let's just select an area that we can loop. If we double click on any of these insert effects, what you'll have is you'll have the ability to see the actual module that, or the plugin that belongs with it. And then from here you can normally select some type of preset. So vocals, I'm going to try. Let's try vocals tight as a preset and see what that's like. You can turn these other ones off. So this is a delay that's been put on it. Bit more. I've opted to put a bit more wet, a bit more dry into it, so it's not too clouded out. Now I'm going to turn on the reverb. EQ. Just that EQ has already done something to it already. Vocal presets. That's alright, I'm just playing around with it. And we'll put the compressor on. Now you have got different compressors that you can choose from. I'm going to go with this basic compressor. I'm going to check one of these presets. I'm literally just playing the dark here with this. I'm going to click Male Vox Pop. It should have something reasonably set up for vocals. And then we use the makeup gain. That's before. It's made it pop out, hasn't it? A little bit of compression. There are some easier compressors in it, I do know that for sure. But you can see here I was able to bring some music in, record a little bit of vocals, do some little bit of auto tuning, add some insert effects onto there, which was easy enough to set up. Not sure why I'm seeing all these other ones in here. It looks like it just It's doing it so it's easy to access, I suppose, without having to keep on opening it up. Then we can just really mix in everything back in again just to make it level. A lot of hiss at the beginning there. I'm going to just double click. Let's bring that down.
You feel like my senses, like a night in the forest. You feel like my senses, like a night in the forest, like a mountain in springtime, like a walk in the rain.
Sung the rain bit a little bit quiet. You can go back into the edit thing if you wanted to. Then our final mix output, as you can see there, is on our right hand side. That's the basically when everything's all combined together, you see the output. And inside Reason, this is where you would do your mixing. So all your mixing stuff is to go on the output, the final output. So I'm not going to go into that. That's another area altogether. But this is where you compress the whole lot to gel it all together again. Probably would be post effects maybe, or this one here. Personas. What we got in here? Modulation, mixing. Channel strip, fat channel maybe, I don't know. Dynamics. There you go. Compressor, expander, gate, limiter, multi-band dynamics. Let's just whack a compressor on there, shall we? Just to compress the whole lot as a final output. Okay, so that will be the end of this small little video series. You can see I was able to get music in, get some stuff recorded, do a little bit of effects, I can do a little bit of EQing, etc. The only other thing I will show you is you can actually bring video in, and I'll show you where you can bring this in. See at the top here, I've come down here to do it. Video player, you click on here, and you can see I've already got the video player in it, and you can play it. The only difference is I clipped a little bit at the beginning of the song up. I clipped it out, but if you didn't clip at the beginning of the song out, it'll be in sync with the actual karaoke track. You just got to bring in your video. You do this by hitting the plus sign. You bring in your video. You bring in the audio that belonged with this video as normal, and then when you press play it will be in sync with that. So just to show you this very quickly from scratch, empty song, I'm going to go to song, import file, and there it is. So there's the song. It's got the same gap that it should have in there. I'm going to go to the video, press the plus button, and I'm going to select the video that belongs to. Not sure where, might be in here. There it is. And because the video and the audio came from the same source, when I press play, watch what happens. The words are going to come up at the right time. I've got audio turned off at the moment, so we'll just turn that on. Then all you have to do is you just make yourself a vocals track, arm it to record, put your earphones on and play your video from the beginning, and then it will be in sync with everything. Well, we don't have to play it in this particular case, we're going to record it. You fill up my senses like a night in the forest. You see, it's all in time, out of tune but in time, and that's how you bring a video in. It's brilliant. You can bring a video in, you can look at the words, you can even resize that video, you can even put that video onto another screen if you wanted to. You've got some other little video options in here, half size, double size. You can even offset the timing of the video by the looks of it. Oh, it allows you to extract the audio from the video track. How great is that? So you don't even have to separate the audio from the video. It does it for you. There you go. It's pulled it in for you automatically. So that's sort of revelation there of its own. So we could in fact just go ahead and do it this way. Empty song, load your video, click on the extract audio. There you go, it's done it. Now when I press play, let's go forward to this part. Do, 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 do. There we go. So you can extract the audio from the video and it automatically brings it into Presonus Studio One, ready for you to record straight away. How great is that? I mean, this is amazing. By the way, another way you can add effects and stuff is you can go to the right here and you can just drag and drop it. See that? You just drag and drop it and it applies it there as an insert to it. You can see by dragging and dropping it onto there, it's automatically added it as an insert onto your track automatically. So you can do it in a kind of different visual way, which I think is quite nice. You'll probably get used to the way some of these look. I dare say some of these allow you different ways of viewing it. There you go, like icons. You can even select your favourites as well by the looks of it. So I think this is pretty damn nifty little tool. Compressors, expanders. You've got the fat channel, back a flanger on there. Just drag and drop it on there, and there it is. It's put on there. There you go. I will stop the video there. I think just with that alone you should be able to get started to record one track from beginning to the end. And remember, if you're doing any vocals and you want to do any retakes, takes, all you have to do let's just close this down. It's just start. You select an area that you find has got a problem.
You fill up my senses.
You can select an area and you say, oh, don't like this area. Just highlighting the area in blue. I'm going to select my loop, give myself a few bars just before it, about there, and then start recording. And it's going to start making all your takes. You can start selecting different areas from different takes, then you'll see it appear in the main track for your vocal recording. And it's as simple as that. I mean, it cannot be more simpler. And if you had your takes, your layers closed down, you've still got the option to go up to here where you've got your splits, and you can select from different takes for that particular area, which I think is excellent. You can see there the color changes. Another way you can do it is you can select an area that you don't like, that you've recorded on your main track, double click just to isolate that area out, and then you can actually select from a different take from there. So that is simply amazing that you can even do that, to be quite honest with you. We can, there you go, just that area. So you don't even have to really expand this necessarily. You may want to expand it to audition them with this solo, just to hear what those different takes are like. But you can simply have that closed if you wanted to. You don't have to select it in here from the takes, which I think is pretty cool. You can literally go through your main track and just double click between the areas that you feel were bad takes, and then to switch it up with a different take. I haven't got any in there to show you, but there you go. So you switch it up with a different take and it will put it in that place. And I think that is pretty damn amazing that you can do that.